Hello, I'm Russell Brand, this is the Trews. Subscribe here to the Trews. Look, it's our living logo. Brian the dog, Trews logo.
Are you a good boy? Are you a good boy? Do you want people to subscribe to the Trews channel? Do you want them to? Do you want them to?
He does, I assure you of that. Today we're going to be looking at some Fox News footage and I'll be defending myself as usual. Let's have a look.
When rhetoric gets extreme over racial issues, it is better to walk away and then be happy that from these consequences arose a middle ground, which I think is happening. There are people from all sides who are agreeing, and there might be solutions coming from some common sense where we start eliminating the extreme voices. But you know it's bad. You know it's bad when a left-wing commie scum named Russell Brand.
That man there calling me left-wing commie scum is called Greg Gutfeld. And did a man ever live up to his name? He's written a book called The Joy of Hate. That's where Greg Gutfeld vibrates as a human being. In hatred. Some of the quotes are, when a gay man tweets me saying I'm tired of people judging me on my sexuality, my feeling is, then stop tweeting about it. There you go, there's his attitude towards homosexuality. Ironically, he says in his book, the I am woman hear me raw crowd became the I am needy give me more bunch. The damsels in distress in 2012 can't find a way to pay for cheap pills. I mean, aren't women independent enough not to... Brian, I'm not going to look at you, but I think you're licking your penis. He is. He's licking his penis. Well, you get the idea. Greg's a bit of a swine and a bit of a snide. They're talking about my commentary on Ferguson when they got that geezer, I think called Jason Riley, out on Fox, who was sort of a black man to condemn the protesters in Ferguson. So Greg Gutfeld's following comments are his commentary on that episode of The Trews.
He actually lectured Jason Riley, who was black, on how to be black. He accused Jason Riley of betraying his racial roots because basically he asserted some conservative perspective about what was going on.
When they say conservative, what are they trying to conserve, actually? It's hatred. They're trying to conserve misery. They're trying to conserve existing power structures. The word conservative is the only relevant one.
The interesting thing is Brand went after me as well, but he didn't mention my race.
No, just to be specific, Greg, what I'm mentioning is your name, your weird facial orifice looks like a caving in anus, and most importantly your views, your espousing of hatred, your emptiness, the echoing tub of your mind.
He only mentioned Jason's race, which makes him a racist. Now, meanwhile, while this is going on, while Russell Brand is lecturing the United States on bigotry, the deadliest form of bigotry, radical Islam.
That's not the deadliest form of bigotry. The deadliest form of bigotry are the forms of bigotry that protect, enhance or enforce existing power structures, whilst there's no doubt that the emergent phenomena of, for example, ISIS or the Islamic State are worrying. The barbarism and the fear being generated from that faction is really, really frightening. It's not as anywhere near as frightening as the existing power structures that could be crushed in an instant by the power of the United States government and the corporations that it represents. In fact, the fear incited by an organisation, by ISIS, is a convenient, not distraction, but a convenient prod to keep us all towing the line. I'm not saying ISIS aren't real, of course they are real, but I'm saying they're not as frightening as the people that are already in power.
Radical Islam is spewing from his homeland, but he's too much of a coward to actually focus on that and to say something like that.
He's really angry, isn't he, Greg Gutfeld? If you think about it, the radicalism and violence that we're seeing in that area is do you want to understand it, or do you just want to condemn it? If you want, like, condemning it, there you go, it takes that long. Condemn violence. Understanding it, what is creating these conditions? This is creating these conditions. So as much as we want to remove that violence, we want to remove this. The chaos in the Middle East was created by this exact energy, this presumptuous, aggressive, overbearing entitlement that comes from a certain sector of neo-conservative American thinking. They're the people that went into the Middle East. They're the people that make deals out there now that create this kind of disharmony and conflict.
He is a coward. He should talk about what's going on in his home and not in ours.
The whole thing sort of is generated by this peculiar patriotism. Greg, I don't observe the borders and boundaries that dominate your world. I don't see Britain and America and the Middle East. I see human beings on a planet trying to resolve a problem. You are that problem, Greg. You are the espouser of dead values. What else does Greg say? The funny thing about tolerant people, they're only tolerant when you agree with them. Suddenly, when they find out you disagree with just one of their assumptions, they become intolerant of you. Has he got a whole book full of this? Oh, Greg, Jesus Christ, I can imagine him typing there with a shirt and tie on, but just in his little underpants, scrambling away at the keyboard. Greg, you're a silly sausage. You're stealing oxygen and you're wasting time. This is the Trews from Russell Brand. You're right, Brian. He's never really happy unless he's licking his willy. I'm talking about Brian, although I could just as easily be talking about Greg.
Nose is a tool that is abused to fool you and to leave you scared and confused. Trews is like the nose. If the nose was true, I want some Trews. Let's have some Trews.